Imagine holding a stone you can see through, and inside it a face, not a carving, a real animal, its skin still wrinkled, one eye still open, frozen mid-blink for 100 million years. Most death leaves bones, or nothing at all. This leaves the whole body, sealed the instant it died, in a golden coffin that never rots. And people keep finding them in mines, in market stalls, in a jeweler's off-cut creatures that shouldn't still be here. Today we're opening 6 of them, each one hiding something soft and wet and far too intact. All of them unsettling. To understand why these finds are so disturbing, you have to understand what amber actually is. It isn't stone. It's tree blood sticky resin that oozed out of ancient forests, trapped whatever touched it, and then hardened over millions of years into a clear golden tomb. Ice preserves a body by freezing it. Tar drowns it. Amber does something stranger. It seals the animal away from air and water and bacteria so completely that the decay just stops. Skin, scales, feathers, even a last mouthful of blood can sit there, untouched, waiting. And once in a while, one of them comes back into the light. The first one looks almost gentle. In 2018, researchers led by paleontologist Lida Xing published a small piece of Burmese amber, no bigger than a matchbox, that had been pulled out of a mine in the Hukaung Valley of northern Myanmar. Held up to the light, it shows a shape everyone recognizes instantly: a frog. Tiny, you could balance it on a fingernail with its front legs tucked and its head slightly turned, as if it had just landed and paused. They named it Electrorana limoe, and it is one of the oldest frogs ever found, 99 million years old. It was hopping through a swamp while dinosaurs walked the same ground. And that's the first quietly unsettling thing about it. When you picture a frog, you picture rain and green ferns and a warm, wet forest. For a long time, nobody could prove frogs even lived in places like that this far back, because soft little bodies like theirs almost never survive. Bones this delicate get crushed, or dissolve, or are eaten before the ground can bury them. A frog simply does not become a fossil under normal rules. This one did, because it didn't die in mud, it died in glue. Look closer, and the gentleness curdles a little. This was a juvenile, a young frog, and it never got out. The resin would have flowed over it slowly, thick as honey, pinning the legs first, then rising over the body, then closing over the face, while the animal was very likely still alive. What you're looking at isn't a peaceful pose. It's the exact position of something that was caught and held and could not pull free. CT scans let the team see through the amber and rebuild the little skeleton in 3 dimensions. The skull, the spine, the long jumping bones in the back legs. From that alone, they could tell it belonged to a group of frogs that still live today in warm tropical forests. So this single trapped body rewrote where and when frogs learned to live in the rainforest. One accidental death, 99 million years ago, filled in a blank that every other fossil had refused to. But here's the part that starts the thread running through this whole list. We can see this frog's skeleton. We can see the shape of its body. What we cannot get back is the one thing that would let us truly know it, its genetic code. And the next creature makes that loss feel a lot more personal, because you can still see the color of its skin. In 2016, a team led by Juan Diego Daza and Edward Stanley opened a box of amber pieces that had sat, forgotten, in a private collection for decades. Inside were 12 lizards, all around 99 million years old, all from the same Myanmar mines. And they were not the flattened smears of color you usually get from a fossil. They were whole, One of them still has its skin. Not an impression of skin, the actual scaled surface, with the color banding still visible, so that after nearly 100 million years you can look at a lizard and see roughly what it looked like alive. Another one, a gecko, kept the tiny ridged pads on its toes, the same climbing pads modern geckos use to walk up glass. You can count the microscopic structures. It could have gripped your finger. And then there's the strangest of the 12. When the scans came back, one small lizard turned out to have a specialized bone in its throat, a launching mechanism for a projectile tongue. It was a chameleon, the oldest ever found, pushing the entire history of chameleons back by nearly 80 million years. It hadn't yet grown the fused, pincer-like feet or the swiveling turret eyes we know today. It's a chameleon caught halfway through becoming one, frozen at a stage no living eye was ever supposed to see. That's the quiet horror of this piece. These aren't statues. Micro-CT scanning showed soft tissue still inside them, the ghost of muscle and organ, held in place by the resin. Claws, teeth, toe pads, eyelids, colored scales, all sitting in the exact arrangement they had in life. If you didn't know better, you'd swear some of them were sleeping and could wake up. They couldn't, of course. And the way they died is worse than the frogs. A lizard is fast. It would have felt the resin catch a foot and pulled hard. And the pulling is why some of these specimens are twisted, mouths open, a leg wrenched back. The amber didn't just record their bodies, it recorded their panic. For the scientists, these 12 lizards were a jackpot, a snapshot of a whole hidden community of tropical reptiles from the age of dinosaurs, preserved in more detail than fossils are ever supposed to allow. For everyone else, there's something more uncomfortable, a dozen small animals that look one blink away from alive and aren't. So far, everything we've opened has been a victim. Small things that were caught and could only struggle. The next piece of amber is different. In the next one, the creature isn't the prey, it's mid-kill. This one is tiny, and it took a moment for anyone to understand what they were seeing. A sliver of Burmese amber, 99 million years old, with 2 insects locked together inside. At first glance, just a bit of clutter. Then you look at how they're arranged, and your stomach turns, because they are not lying next to each other. One is holding the other down. The attacker is a hell ant, Ceratomimex ellenbergeri, and it is nothing like the ants in your kitchen. It has a single horn growing up from its forehead and a pair of scythe-shaped jaws that don't close sideways, the way every ant you've ever seen closes its jaws. They close upward. The horn and the blades work together like a trap. The prey gets pushed up against the horn, and the jaws swing up to meet it, pinning the victim between them. Nothing alive today hunts like this. This entire style of killing is extinct, and the prey is still in the trap. It's a young relative of cockroaches, a species called Caputoraptor elegans, and the ant's blades are clamped around its neck. In 2020, paleontologist Philip Barden described the pair. And what makes this fossil so rare isn't the ant or the roach on their own, it's the timing. Resin doesn't usually catch behavior. It catches a body sitting still. To catch a hunt, the resin had to pour over both animals in the middle of the strike. The ant already committed, the jaws already shut, the prey already caught, and freeze all of it before either one could let go. So what you're looking at is a single second of violence that has lasted 99 million years. The exact moment of the kill, held perfectly, long after the forest it happened in turned to coal, and the continent it happened on drifted halfway across the world. And there's something almost unbearable about it when you sit with it. Both of them died in that second. The hunter never got its meal. The prey never escaped. Neither one knew that the sticky warmth closing around them wasn't part of the fight, that it was the thing that would actually kill them both, and then keep them exactly like this, longer than mammals have existed. The ant and the roach are complete. Every leg, every blade, every joint. But the next amber tomb doesn't just hold a body, it holds a meal, a belly, full of someone else's blood. In 2017, a team including the amber specialist George Poinard and led by Enrique Peñalva announced something that sounds like it was written specifically to unsettle you. They had found ticks, the blood-drinking parasites, sealed in 99-million-year-old Burmese amber. And one of these ticks was not empty. Start with the first specimen, because it's almost too neat. It's a hard tick, and it is gripping a feather. An actual dinosaur-era feather, frozen in the resin right beside it, with the tick's legs still hooked into the strands. Feathers that age didn't come from birds as we know them, they came from feathered dinosaurs. So this is a parasite caught in the act of clinging to its host, the strongest direct evidence we have that ticks were crawling through dinosaur plumage and feeding on them the way they feed on deer and dogs today. Then there's the one that makes people go quiet. A different, now extinct kind of tick they named Dinocroton draculae, Dracula's terrible tick. One specimen is swollen, engorged. It had fed just before it died, and its body is bloated to roughly 8 times its normal size, with a last meal of blood still inside it. A tick filled with the blood of something that was alive 99 million years ago, sealed before it could ever digest it. And this is exactly where the fantasy shows up, the one you're already thinking of. A drop of ancient blood sealed in amber. That's the entire premise of Jurassic Park. Crack it open, pull out the blood, read the DNA, bring the animal back. It's a wonderful idea. And this is the specimen that should, in theory, deliver it. It doesn't. It can't. And this is the honest, colder truth at the center of this whole video. The blood is real, but the DNA inside it is gone. The team tried. They said it plainly. Every attempt to pull usable DNA out of amber has failed. Genetic material is a fragile molecule, and it doesn't wait millions of years, no matter how perfect the tomb around it looks. Separate research put the odds bluntly. DNA breaks down so steadily that within roughly 1.5 million years, there is essentially nothing left to read. Amber preserves the container flawlessly and quietly lets the message inside rot away. They couldn't even prove whose blood it was. The tick was never fully wrapped in resin, so the meal was contaminated. So close you can see it and permanently out of reach, which raises the real question this list keeps circling. If nothing that dies can truly cheat time, how do you explain the creature in the next piece of amber whose whole family is famous for refusing to die? You've almost certainly heard of this animal, even if you've never seen one. The tardigrade, the water bear, the tiny, pudgy, 8-legged creature that scientists keep firing into space and freezing near absolute zero and drying out for decades just to watch it get up and walk away. Tardigrades are the closest thing life has to something that cannot be killed. They can shut their bodies down almost completely, curl into a dry husk, and wait years, even longer, and then, given a single drop of water, come back. So of all the animals to find sealed in amber, this is the one that feels wrong. Because if anything could survive being trapped, you'd think it would be this. In 2021, a researcher named Mark Mapalo, working with Javier Ortega Hernandez, described a water bear locked in amber from the Dominican Republic, around 16 million years old. It's 0.5 millimeter long, a speck. It was so small, it had been hiding in plain sight inside its amber before anyone realized what it was. And it is astonishingly rare. In the entire fossil record, across the whole history of a group that has existed for 500 million years, this is only the 3rd tardigrade ever formally found and named. Almost none of them ever leave a trace. They are built to endure, but not to be remembered. Under a powerful laser microscope, the team could see structures inside its gut so distinctive that it wasn't just a new species, it was a whole new branch of the family tree, one nobody knew existed. A form of near-immortal life that came, went, and would have vanished without a record if a single drop of resin hadn't happened to fall on it. And here's the part that closes the loop. This creature's living relatives really can cheat death. They really do come back after being frozen, boiled, dried, and blasted with radiation. But this one didn't. It got caught in the resin in an ordinary moment, in an ordinary forest. And for all its family's impossible toughness, the amber held it just the same. Even the animal that laughs at extinction can be stopped by a slow drip of tree sap. We've had a frog, lizards, a killer mid-strike, a belly of blood, and a creature that shouldn't be mortal. Every one of them, in the end, just a beautifully kept body. But the last piece of amber is not a bug or a lizard. The last one is a piece of a dinosaur, and it still has its blood in it. In 2015, Leader Xing was walking through an amber market in Myanmar, the kind of stall where polished pieces are sold as jewelry, sometimes with a mosquito or an ant inside as a novelty. A vendor showed him a lump that was being sold as a curiosity, a plant caught in the resin. Xing looked closer. It wasn't a plant, it was covered in feathers, and it was still attached to something. What he had found, and published in 2016, was a section of tail from a small feathered dinosaur, a juvenile coelurosaur, a cousin of the meat-eating theropods that died around 99 million years ago. Not a bird, a dinosaur. 8 of its tailbones are in there, still lined up in order, still wrapped in soft tissue, still covered in feathers. You can see the color of chestnut brown on top, pale underneath. Nobody had ever held a dinosaur's tail like this before. Not a print, not a cast. The actual tail with the actual feathers of an actual dinosaur in a piece of amber small enough to close your hand around. The feathers themselves rewrote what we thought dinosaur feathers looked like. Soft, open, almost fur-like, without the tight zip of a modern flight feather. But that's not the detail that lingers. When the team analyzed the tissue, they found traces of ferrous iron. That iron is a decomposition product. It's what's left behind when the hemoglobin in blood breaks down. In plain terms, there are the chemical remains of this dinosaur's blood still inside its own tail. And so we arrive at the end, at the exact thing the whole idea promises. A real dinosaur. Its body, its feathers, the ghost of its blood, everything you would need, everything the movie told you was enough. It is the closest any human being has ever physically come to a living dinosaur. And it is still not enough. Because the one thing that isn't in there is the code, the DNA that would let anyone read it, rebuild it, wake it up. The blood decayed into rust. The genome unraveled and blew away, molecule by molecule, in the dark, over 99 million years, while the beautiful golden shell around it kept everything else perfectly, cruelly intact. We are holding a piece of a dinosaur, and it is as far away from us as it has ever been. That's the thing about amber. It doesn't preserve life. It preserves the exact shape of the moment life ended, and then it hides that moment underground for tens of millions of years, until a miner's pick, or a jeweler's saw, or a stranger at a market stall happens to cut into the right golden stone. Almost every one of these was found by accident, which means the mines are still full of them right now. Bodies and hunts and last meals, sealed and waiting in the dark, and we have only opened the ones we tripped over. So the real question isn't what we've already found, it's what's still in there. in a stone nobody has cut open yet. If this is the kind of thing you'd lie awake thinking about, you already belong here, so stick around.